What's up guys, my name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and welcome back to the channel. So today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing a H1Z1 aim guide. So I've literally just woken up and I feel just a little bit sick, so apologies if the commentary sounds a little bit different, but I'm going to be showing you a few different shooting fundamentals. This is for new players because I want to basically support all the new players that have just come to H1 in an influx, because H1 is getting pretty big right now. So this is kicking off in the same kind of style as my other aim guides. This is just going to be how to aim better and how to improve your aim. It's no different to the other guides really, because the aiming on H1 has always been the same. So I want to kind of just go through how to aim, how to get 2 taps, just explaining how all the guns work, maybe for players who haven't played before, because to be honest, there's 2 different weapons in H1 that you need to use and familiarize yourself with, and you need to actually make a decision which of these 2 weapons you actually want to use. So I'm going to go over here where there's no people because I don't want to get spawn trapped, and I'm going to run over the actual weapons and how to shoot them, because a lot of people come from games like PUBG where you can literally spray or have fully automatic weapons, and that's not really how this game works. So as you can see, the first weapon we have is the AR15. I'll just show you in first person mode, just inspecting it. This is the AR15, okay? Then we have the AK. As you can see, I've got some skins for them. It doesn't really matter about the skins, but they look pretty cool. And then we also have the shotgun. So this video, I'm not going to be teaching you about the shotgun. Basically, I'll just say a few things about the shotgun just to get it out of the way. So the shotgun's decent to use in third person, but if you press T, you can go into first person and then obviously run with shift and shotgun rush people. This can be quite good at close range when it's hard to see people, and it can give you a bit of an advantage. But if you're behind a wall or a tree, it's sometimes best to stay in third person because you have more vision that way. Now moving on to the actual weapon. So the first is the AR. Basically, the AR, you have to shoot it in a rhythm, okay? It's not automatic. You press once on your mouse and it will shoot once, okay? So as you can see, it shoots once like that. It's not auto. And I've just taken that guy out. You have to shoot in a rhythm. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometimes you can shoot it faster than that, but for the most part you want to shoot it quite slow. If you spam or shoot it too quickly, the accuracy will actually diminish. So you can see if I shoot it just a little bit quicker than the normal rhythm, it'll kind of go all over the place, and you'll see that the bullets have landed kind of like in a line, but at different points in the line. That's because the AR-15 has only horizontal recoil, so it only goes from left to right, which means you can kind of spray and get away with it and sometimes hit from a long range. So if I just kind of spray over here, as you can see, the accuracy is pretty bad, but I got 1 hit and finished him off. So the spray isn't accurate. I wouldn't recommend doing it, but if there's a car coming and you're against someone in a vehicle, spraying and aiming in front of them can sometimes get a 2-tap or basically just damage them or the car. So spraying can be useful, especially for car fights, but do not spray people. Try and go for the steady shots and the 2-taps. Just shoot in a rhythm like this and practice on the tree, and when you're shooting slow enough at the right rhythm, all of your shots should go into the same place in this little round circle cone. So that's how to shoot the AR. If you're at a longer range, the bullets will be even less accurate because they have to travel a further range. So you can practice at different ranges. You can see it's fully accurate there. As long as you shoot in this exact rhythm, you're always going to hit shots. And at range, I'll talk about how to hit range shots in a second. So the next is the AK. There used to be different fire modes on the AK because this game has gone through countless updates. Basically, the AK is the same. You have to shoot in a rhythm, although the rhythm is slightly different. There's a different amount of milliseconds before the shot resets with the recoil, but you still have to kind of shoot in a rhythm like this, as you can see. So as long as you're shooting in a rhythm like that, you should always be able to hit accurate shots. Now, this gun is kind of harder to use. There's a guy here. The AK is harder to use because it only goes up and down, which is vertical recoil. So sometimes if you shoot fast on the AR and your shot's quite inaccurate, you can account for this just by the fact that it only goes left to right. So sometimes you can just hit lucky shots. But the AK is for the people who really need pinpoint aim or want to learn how to have pinpoint aim. So the AK is a really nice weapon and it's really accurate, but if your aim is really bad, then it can suffer more when you're using the AK. So as you can see, I'm just going for body shots there, and I'm shooting in the rhythm that I explained, and it's actually pretty easy to get a kill. Now, if you're a new player, I'd recommend only shooting for the body. I know that's stupid, but if you're in a normal game and you only aim for headshots before you actually know how to shoot, then you'll probably end up dying. Now, you can see that I got a headshot on that guy, and I'm shooting in a rhythm. It's best just to practice headshots and go into a game and just see how everything is. What you want to be doing is you want to be playing the combat training game mode, which I'm playing on right now. On the main menu, all you do is select combat training, play, and then combat training, and then you should be able to play it. So the reason you want to play this is how you actually practice all of your shots, because you actually have a respawn timer. You will constantly respawn in this mode, so it doesn't matter if you die, you can just respawn and keep testing your shot. Warning though, literally everyone in H1 right now are kind of pros. Even if you go into this practice mode and you don't get any kills, don't be discouraged, because most people in this game are really good, and it's got such a steep skill curve that it's kind of hard to learn and practice when you're a new player. Now you can see that I spawned in front of an enemy, which is not a good spawn. Go into a normal game. As you can see, I am using the AR15, so I'll just practice the AR15. As you can see, if you're at range with the AR, you need to tap it a little bit slower, because then your bullets are more accurate. So I'll kind of give you a demonstration of that if we can find someone. If you tap very fast, it's not going to be accurate whatsoever. As you can see, that's kind of like a 2-tap. And at range, you want to aim just that little bit higher, because if you aim low at range, you're not going to hit your shot. So the next point I'm going to go into is bullet drop and bullet speed, okay? So the bullet prediction and bullet drop. And basically that means that you have to aim a little bit higher and a little bit in front of the player to actually hit them. So if they're moving on like a horizontal trajectory on the road, you have to aim just that little bit in front of them, because your bullet speed is quite slow in this game. So people will usually be able to outrun your bullet as long as you actually aim in front of them. You should be able to amend this. Usually you have to aim maybe like a little millimeter above the head, or like an inch. So let's say that the guy is over there, okay? The guy is the lamppost here. What you want to do is you want to aim just that a little bit above him, maybe like an inch where that sign is, and shoot there, and it should always drop onto his head. But it depends at what distance they are, and it depends at what rate they're moving, the rate that you actually shoot in the head. Everything changes. It's dependent where he is and what speed he's going at. And when people are moving, you have to shoot in front of them, but it's kind of all muscle memory. You can't really learn this until you actually practice, because it kind of varies, and the value is always going to be different every time. So you have to just practice. You have to aim above them just to see if you can hit headshots. If you can't hit a headshot, you just have to aim higher and aim further in front, and eventually you will hit shots. And the further range you're at, the slower that your rate of fire should be, because it's more inaccurate when it travels at range. Okay, so that's the shooting fundamentals. Now I'm going to go into the game options and show you which settings I use, and just show you kind of like what you need to set up to actually get better at aiming. So if we go into the gameplay, I'll try and show you it. It's going to be hard because we're currently in the middle of combat, so I'm probably going to get killed while I do this. So gameplay, right, so mouse sensitivity is the sensitivity that your mouse will go when you go into the free camera mode. So if you just look around, so you want to have this a little bit higher, because you don't want to be moving really slowly to find enemies, because if you have to rotate your mouse or your character, it's going to be really slow and it's going to get you killed. So I have this around 13%. I am playing on 400 DPI on my mouse as well. Aiming is basically when you ADS, so you can see I move really quick, but when I ADS I don't move as quick. So that is on a number 8. I've got everything on 8%. Scoped is on 8 as well. That's basically the sensitivity when you scope into a sniper. Vehicle sensitivity is your camera just rotating when you're in a vehicle. You can put this on higher because it doesn't affect your shooting. So I put this on 25, just so I literally have awareness of the map around me. Parachute, 25, just the same as vehicle, just so it's easier for the muscle memory. Camera mode is actually really important, because I have it on classic mode, which is how I've always had it, and you can see that the crosshair's in the center and my character's centered. If I change this and we change it to static, this is the newer camera, so the crosshair's on the right side and we get more view of the gun. I personally think this is easier for beginners because it makes shooting a little bit easier. So if you're a beginner, maybe use static because it might help you out. And if I just quickly go onto the camera again, you'll see that there's also dynamic, which is the same as static, but if you go inside a building like a house, the camera angle will actually change. So I'll see if I can show you. It's kind of hard to actually show you, but if you go into a house, the camera angle will actually get a bit closer and change. This is dynamic. It's not that much different to static. It just depends if you want your camera to stay in the same place. But for the most part, I think the classic mode is better because that's what H1's always been on. So I always try and put it on classic mode because I'm always used to that. Then the crosshair is actually pretty important, okay? So if we scroll down, we can see a few different options. Now, these are my colors that I've got it on just to have it full green. I've got full green on. Classic hit feedback is also really nice, but I would recommend turning this off because the classic hit feedback is basically the small crosshairs and hit markers, but sometimes they cover the player's helmet or the player's body, and at ranges it can make it harder to hit shots. So I'd recommend for new players have classic hit feedback turned off. I just like how it looks, but I wouldn't recommend using it because it's actually harder to shoot with. Reticle style is usually on dynamic, which you'll see that it gets bigger and smaller. I'd recommend changing this. I'm going to show you shooting with this on because this is actually a lot harder for me. So you'll see that I have the dynamic on right now. So when we get a longer range, the crosshair is smaller. When we go into running mode, it's really open, and you'll see the shotgun crosshair is permanently like this because it shows the actual spread of the gun's alignment. Now this is kind of nice, to be honest, but I'd really recommend using the dynamic crosshair if you want to get used to it. But for me personally, I really prefer the classic crosshair because that's what H1's always been like. When you're behind an obstacle, you can actually switch the camera view. So if I peek like this, I'm going to be exposed in a gunfight, but if I press Control, which is the camera swap key, I can switch to my shoulder and only half peek to actually get vision. So I recommend using the over-the-shoulder camera, which is something which I neglected for a long time, and just messing around with your crosshair and see what works for you. Just because the classic crosshair works for me, doesn't mean that it'll work for you, vice versa. Now let's go into gameplay again. So reticle style, I keep on classic, and I use the little dot, but the crosshair, which is the Counter-Strike crosshair, is also pretty good, so I'd recommend trying that out. Shotgun dynamic reticle you want to turn on, and that's really it for shooting settings. There's nothing really else important about that. And then under graphics, your field of view, that's kind of just adjusted depending how you want it. I have it on 65%. Obviously you can change that, but then that's kind of all the shooting settings. So that's the actual game options and the video settings covered. The video settings don't really matter too much apart from the field of view. But apart from that, you just need to go and practice. Now, I'd recommend playing a few hours of combat training. That doesn't have to be every day, just in general. Because even I'm not perfect on aim, and I played the game a lot of hours. So I'd recommend just going into combat training to actually practice the shooting and just see where it gets you. So that's my shooting guide on H1Z1. I hope this video was useful. If it was helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. I probably won't do too many H1 videos because not many people wanted me to, but because I got a few votes, I thought I'd make a new aim guide video for anyone who's coming to the game, just to help them out. And yeah, if you do play H1Z1, you might see me play some solo games on EU or some kind of tournament sometimes. I've only just started playing again, so I am a little bit rusty, but I'm just getting back into everything. So if you're on H1Z1, I might see you on combat training. I know a lot of people who watch my old aim guides saw me in combat mode and they recognized me from YouTube. So maybe you'll see me play if you start playing H1Z1 or if you're a regular. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you next time.